Hey, everybody. Welcome to another deep dive with us.
Hmm.
Today, we're tackling something that's pretty vital for any relationship,
Oh, yeah, definitely.
keeping the romance alive,
Hmm.
specifically through text messages.
That's right, texting,
Yes, texting.
which, might seem kind of like, well, everyone texts all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
But are we using it to its full potential romantically?
Yeah, are we? So to help us navigate this, we're looking at this article. It's called Seven Romantic Text Messages I Sent My Boyfriend to Keep the Spark Alive.
Nice.
Now, obviously, this is written from, one specific perspective, but I think, like, the real value here is the psychology behind these texts
Yeah, absolutely.
and how you can adapt them to your own relationship dynamic.
Yeah, I mean, even if you are not in a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, like even if you're married, these are great tips.
Yeah.
It's about those little gestures that show someone you care. And I think what's fascinating is that the article goes beyond just listing. You know those sweet little nothings? It actually dives into the when, like the perfect timing for each message to really make an impact.
Okay, so it's not just what you say, it's when you say it.
Exactly.
Sounds
Like,
so.
think about it. Receiving a just because text, after a rough day, can be so much more meaningful than just a generic good morning.
Yeah, I can see that. So, like, context is key. Like, if you send a text that's like, just wanted to remind you that you're my favorite part of every day, that hits different. When you know your partner is stressed out or feeling down.
Absolutely. It's like giving them a virtual hug
Hmm.
right when they need it the most. It shifts their focus, reminds them that they're loved, and it can even boost their mood.
Wow.
It's simple, but super effective.
I like it. So much strategy in these like simple texts. What about late at night? Like the article mentioned sending like a good night text that says every moment with you feels like a beautiful dream. Is that kind of playing into a certain emotional state?
Totally. You're creating this positive association before they fall asleep, so you
Hmm.
send that text right before bed. It allows those feelings to linger as they're drifting off, and it fosters intimacy and connection even when you're physically apart.
Yeah, I can see that. That's cool. So we've got like the pick me up text and the sweet dreams text. What other kind of gems does this article give us?
Well, it emphasizes going beyond the standard I love you, which, I love you is great, but sometimes you need to get a little creative to really express what makes your partner so special.
Okay, so instead of just saying I love you, we're expressing like the why
Exactly.
reasons behind it.
Instead of I love you, imagine getting a text that says, you make my heart smile in ways words can't describe.
I,
It's highlighting what makes your love unique, and it shows a deeper understanding of your partner.
yeah, that's going to score some major points.
Yeah.
It feels a lot more personal than, just like a generic statement.
It's like you're putting effort into making them feel seen and appreciated.
Yes. I like that.
And that's what's so powerful about these texts, right? But they're like little love notes sprinkled throughout your day, reminding your partner that they're constantly on your mind, even amidst the busyness of life.
Yeah, I'm rethinking my texting game after reading this article.
Yeah.
It's really about being mindful, about how we communicate love and affection.
Exactly.
It's not always about those grand gestures. Sometimes it's the small but consistent things
Those are the things that really make a difference.
that make a relationship thrive.
Yeah, and that's where things get really interesting. The article also talks about long-distance relationships.
Ooh, long distance. That's a whole other beast.
Yeah.
How do we keep the spark alive then, miles apart?
It recommends acknowledging the distance, but also emphasizing the anticipation of being reunited. So something like, can't wait to be in your arms again. You feel like home to me.
Wow.
You know?
That's powerful.
Mm.
It's acknowledging the longing,
Mm.
but it's also reinforcing that connection, despite the physical separation.
Right. It reassures them that you know the distance is temporary and that the bond you share is strong enough to endure it.
Yeah.
And that brings us to another interesting point the article brings up. It's the importance of incorporating romantic gestures into even the most mundane parts of life.
Okay, I like this. But like finding those sparks, even when life is crazy busy.
Exactly. So picture this. You're both swamped with work, barely have time to breathe. But then you get a text that says, thinking about you is my favorite way to pass the time.
Oh, stop. That is so good because it's so simple. But when you're in that moment when you feel disconnected and overwhelmed,
Right.
that is just like,
That little dose of love
yeah.
that you need to get through the day.
I'm convinced that romantic texting is an art form.
It is an art form.
It's not just about expressing feelings, it's understanding your partner's emotional needs
Right.
and meeting them through these little acts of love.
Exactly. And what's fascinating is that these small actions can have a huge impact on the health and happiness of your relationship.
Tell me more about that.
Okay, so studies show that expressing gratitude and affection boosts our own happiness and well-being.
Oh, interesting.
So when we actively focus on the positive aspects of our relationships and we make an effort to express love, it actually strengthens those feelings within ourselves.
Oh, wow. So it's like a win-win. You make your partner feel good.
Yeah.
And you feel good.
Exactly.
They'll love that.
It's creating a culture of appreciation and affection in your relationship. And that can have a ripple effect, making both of you feel more connected, supported, and loved.
Yeah, like just these little acts of kindness. But it's with the person you care about most.
Exactly. And the beauty is it takes so little effort. We all have our phones on us 24/7. To send a quick love text, it takes seconds. But the impact can be felt for hours.
Hours, even days.
Yeah.
I'm sold. I'm ready to up my game.
Yeah.
So what other insights does this article have? Let's get into some more examples.
All right, so the article also talks about expressing those deeper feelings of love and affection.
Okay.
And it suggests, going beyond just everyday compliments. Really dig into, like, the core of why your partner is so special to you.
Ooh, okay. I like that. Lay it on me.
Okay, so the article says, try sending something like, "You're the best thing that has ever happened to me, and I adore you."
Ooh.
Now
Going straight for the heartstrings.
Right.
That's good.
That's a powerful statement of love and appreciation.
It is.
It's a step up from just, thinking of you.
It is. I'm writing this down.
Exactly. You're expressing the depth of your feelings, acknowledging the profound impact they've had on your life.
Yeah.
And you can send that randomly or for special occasions.
Yes. Okay, so we've got expressing appreciation. We've got navigating long distance, incorporating romance into the mundane, expressing deep affection. Anything else?
Well, the article saves the best for last. It talks about music.
Ooh, music. Now you're speaking my language.
Yeah.
How do we bring music into this?
So they suggest sending a text like, "Every love song suddenly makes sense when I'm with you," when a song reminds you of your partner. So it's connecting your love to a shared experience.
Yes. I love that. It's like creating a soundtrack for your relationship.
Exactly.
And even when you're not together, you hear that song and it brings back all those memories and feelings.
It's a beautiful way to keep that spark alive.
Yeah, through a shared passion.
Through music.
This is so interesting. I love this deep dive.
Me too.
We're looking at text messages, but it's so much more than that.
Yeah.
It's about intentionality, creativity, and tapping into those deeper emotions to strengthen that bond with your partner.
Absolutely. And what I think is interesting is that these messages don't need to be long and complicated. It's finding those short, sweet, but impactful ways to express your love.
Quality over quantity.
Right.
And these small moments add up over time.
They do. It creates this tapestry of love and intimacy.
Yes.
It all starts with that intentionality, making a conscious choice to make your partner feel special, even in the simplest ways. Love that.
So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to ask you, our listener, what are some of those quirks, those inside jokes, those shared experiences that make your relationship special?
Yeah.
How can you weave those into your texts and make them truly your own?
That's a great challenge.
It's about going beyond the generic and tapping into the heart of your connection.
Love that.
And it can be so much fun. You can be playful. You can be heartfelt. You can be silly. You can be mischievous. Let your personality shine through.
Yeah.
Just let your partner know that you're thinking of them in a way that's uniquely you.
I love that. Because if you get a text and you know it's tailored to you,
Right.
and it references an inside joke or a special moment you shared, it makes you feel so loved and understood.
Absolutely. Like, you get me.
Yes.
And what could be more romantic than that?
Right. So we've talked about some pretty awesome strategies so far for sending those romantic texts. But I'm curious what makes those short, sweet messages so impactful. Is there something about texting specifically that amplifies that romantic effect? That's a really great question. And it kind of gets at this fascinating element of communication. Because, like, you think about it, these texts are like little emotional anchors throughout the day. They break through the noise of everything else going on. And they just remind your partner that amidst all the craziness, that they are loved and cherished.
So it's like a mini reminder
Exactly.
that pops up on their phone, almost like a digital love note appearing on their screen.
I like that. And unlike a phone call, which kind of demands your immediate attention, a text can be savored. They can reread it, they can let it sink in, really feel those words.
Yeah, that's true. It lets those feelings linger. It has a longer impact.
Totally. It's like creating these little pockets of joy throughout their day.
I like that. Now, I am curious. Because the article mentioned something else that I thought was really interesting. Sending those texts isn't just good for the receiver. It can be beneficial for the sender as well. Is there something to that?
There is. It's like the saying, it's better to give than to receive, right? Studies actually show that expressing gratitude and affection boosts our own happiness levels.
Interesting.
So it's like this amazing positive feedback loop.
Okay, so we're making our partners feel good, but we get a boost too.
Exactly. It's like you're investing in your well-being through loving another person.
I like that.
Yeah.
Now, relationships are a two-way street.
Absolutely.
So we got to remember that every relationship is unique.
Mm-hmm.
So what resonates with one couple might not work for another.
Right.
But it's about taking these general ideas and making them your own.
Yeah, think of it as like a template, but then you personalize it
Yeah,
to fit your love story.
I like that a lot.
And knowing your partner's love language can really help elevate those text messages.
Okay, how so?
Well, if your partner really values words of affirmation, those heartfelt compliments are going to mean the world to them.
Does that make sense?
But let's say their love language is more like acts of service. Maybe a text hinting at a future favor or a chore you're going to do for them would be more impactful.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's like speaking their language, but through text.
Mm-hmm. And think about it like, what about inside jokes or funny memories that you share?
Yeah.
Weave those into your texts. It adds this level of intimacy, reminds them of special moments that you've shared together.
Okay, I'm on board with this.
Yeah.
It's like we're taking these grand romantic gestures, but we're kind of like breaking them down into these bite-sized text message moments.
Right.
It feels more achievable, more sustainable for the long run.
It is. And it's about consistency. You know, imagine receiving thoughtfully crafted messages regularly. Over time, they paint this beautiful picture of love and devotion. And they become a testament to the effort that you're putting into the relationship.
So it's like you're writing your love story, one text at a time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love that. It starts with that intentionality, that conscious choice to make your partner feel special in even the smallest ways. So as we wrap up this part of the deep dive, think about this. What are those unique quirks, those inside jokes, those shared experiences that make your relationship special?
Okay.
How can you weave those into your texts and make them your own?
That's a great challenge for our listeners.
It's about going beyond those generic messages and tapping into the heart of your connection.
Yes.
And it can be so much fun. You can be playful, you can be heartfelt, you can be silly, you can even be a little mischievous. Let your personality shine through. Let your partner know you're thinking of them in a way that's uniquely you.
I love that. Because getting a text that you know is tailored to you, references your inside jokes, reminds you of a special moment you've shared that makes you feel so incredibly loved and understood.
Absolutely. It's that feeling of, you get me.
Yes.
What could be more romantic than that?
Well said. So are you ready for the final part of our deep dive,
Let's do it.
where we explore some practical tips for putting all this into action?
I'm ready.
All right, so we've covered the psychology behind these romantic text messages. We've talked about tailoring them to your partner's love language. But now, let's get practical. What are some tangible tips to put all this into practice?
Great question. One thing the article really emphasizes is timing. You know, it's not just what you say, but when you say it. Think about those little moments throughout the day where a well-timed text can really make a difference.
Okay, I like that. Give me an example.
Okay, so let's say your partner's about to give a big presentation at work, a quick text like, "You've got this, I'm so proud of you," right before they walk into that meeting. Can be a huge confidence boost.
Yeah, like sending a little burst of love and support right when they need it most.
Exactly. Or what about right after they finish a challenging task or a project? You could send something like, "I bet you're feeling amazing after crushing that project."
Can't wait to celebrate with you later.
Yeah, like you're anticipating their needs and meeting them with these little expressions of love and encouragement. It's really sweet. And it doesn't have to be tied to a specific event. Sometimes the most impactful texts are the ones that come out of the blue, like randomly just thinking of you and can't wait to see you later. What are you up to?
Yeah, I like that. Keeping the conversation going, reinforcing that closeness.
Right. Those small but consistent efforts really make a difference over time. But one thing I do want to say is try not to be too predictable or repetitive with your texts.
Yeah, that's a good point. We don't want it to become robotic or impersonal.
Exactly. The magic is in the spontaneity and the authenticity. So mix it up. Experiment with different phrases, different timings, different ways of expressing your love.
So finding that balance between consistency and surprise,
Mhm.
keeping those sparks flying by
Hmm.
being both reliable and unpredictable.
Right. And remember, it's not just about the words themselves. Emojis, gifs, even voice notes can add a whole other dimension to your romantic
Well,
text.
yeah, you're right. Like emojis definitely up the cuteness factor,
Mm-hmm.
and voice notes add that personal touch.
Feel like you're right there with them.
Yeah.
And pictures, too. Share a funny meme that made you think of them. Or a quick selfie with a caption like, wish you were here. It can really brighten their day.
Okay, so we've got timing, we've got variety, we've got multimedia elements. Any other pro tips?
Well, one that often gets overlooked is proofreading. A simple typo can totally change the tone of a message, so always double check before hitting send.
Yeah, especially with autocorrects. Things can get really lost in translation these days.
Absolutely. And lastly, don't underestimate the power of a heartfelt compliment. Notice something you love about your partner. Tell them, whether it's their work ethic, just the way they make you feel. Those genuine compliments go a long way.
Making them feel seen and appreciated.
Exactly. So to wrap up our deep dive today, remember romantic texting is a really powerful tool for nurturing your relationship and keeping the spark alive.
It's about being thoughtful, intentional, expressing your love in a way that feels authentic and personalized. And have fun with it. Experiment. Get creative. See what works best for you and your partner. Because at the end of the day, it's about making each other feel loved, appreciated, and connected. No matter the distance.
Well said. Go forth and spread the love one text message at a time.